Cameron Poe, an honorably discharged United States Army Ranger, is found guilty of manslaughter in the killing of an innocent but inebriated pub patron while defending his pregnant wife Tricia from him by a biased judge and sentenced to 7 to 10 years in prison. He talks with his wife and daughter while in prison and focuses on himself. Poe gets released on parole 8 years later and is due to be flown back to Alabama on the same day as his daughter Casey's 7th birthday. Poe is scheduled to go on the Jailbird, a C-123 jet, with fellow prisoner Mike "Baby O" Odell. U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin is using this jail transfer flight to move a number of legendary dangerous prisoners to a new supermax prison. Among them are Nathan "Diamond Dog" Jones, a black supremacist who bombed an NRA meeting and claimed that they represented the basest negativity of the white race, as well as William "Billy" Bedlam Bedford, who was found guilty of killing his wife's entire family after discovering her in bed with another man, and Denzel Washington, who reportedly will star in the movie adaptation of Jones's New York Times bestseller. Johnny 23 Baca, a serial rapist, Joe "Pinball" Parker, and perhaps the most violent criminal in the prison system, Cyrus the Virus Grissom, who served time for kidnapping, robbery, murder, and extortion, shanked 11 inmates, incited 3 prison riots, and escaped from prison twice, and likes to brag that he's killed more men than cancer. Before the flight, DEA agent Duncan Malloy approaches Larkin and requests to send undercover agent Willie Sims on the aircraft in order to interview drug kingpin Francisco Sandino before he is detained in the new prison. Larkin agrees, but demands that the agent board the plane unarmed. However, Malloy manages to smuggle Sims a gun during the boarding pat-down. When Pinball Parker sets the prisoner next to him on fire to create a distraction, Jones and Grissom are able to escape shortly after the plane takes off. The guards are swiftly brought under control by the prisoners, and Cyrus then climbs into the cockpit and assassinates the co-pilot who had emerged to calm down the chaos. To stop the pilot from reporting the riot and informing the subsequent control center that only a minor disturbance happened but was swiftly brought under control, Cyrus quickly seizes the co-pilot's weapon and seizes control of the cockpit. Sims tries to threaten Grissom with Pinball as his hostage as Pinball is releasing the prisoner's handcuffs. Poe, realizing that Sims is at a disadvantage because Pinball is a useless prisoner like Sims, tries to talk the agent out of it. Sims refuses the advice and is killed. Pinball informs Cyrus that some of the inmates who were supposed to disembark were killed during the takeover as Cyrus gathers the remaining prisoners to get ready for a scheduled landing in Carson City to meet the required number of prisoners being transferred. When Poe sees that the pilot is being moved off in his place and that they are covering the transferees' mouths as a precaution, he decides against getting off in the hopes of exposing the takeover. He's staying mostly because Odell has diabetes and needs assistance, and the insulin injection needles that were destroyed during the takeover can't be used. In addition, Johnny 23 is pursuing Sally Bishop, the sole female security guard on the aircraft, despite Cyrus's, who also harbors a strong distaste for rapists, warning to shoot him if he tries to rape her. When Poe discovers a recording device on Sims' body, he gives it to one of the guards filling in for the deceased in the hopes that it will draw the attention of the guards on the prison bus. Cyrus makes sure the prison transfer occurs without a hitch as the plane lands to refuel and pick up more convicts to bring them to freedom. Drug lord Francisco Sandino, who was responsible for the escape and whom Sims was sent to question, transvestite serial killer Ramon "Sally Can't Dance" Martinez, their new pilot, Swamp Thing Williams, and cannibal serial killer Garland Green, also known as the Marietta Mangler, are among the new inmates boarding. Even though the guards on the prison bus learn the true identities of the inmates on the bus and backup doesn't arrive in time because the inmates saw their vehicles approaching the runway, Grissom orders Pinball to hide the plane's transponder, and despite Poe's best efforts, the plane departs Carson City without incident. When one of the guards disobeys him and opens a little cigar box that contains a bomb, Larkin just escapes being killed on his way out after learning the details of the plane's takeover in Cyrus's former jail cell. After learning what transpired, Larkin and Malloy begin to assume that Poe is on their side because Larkin had heard about Poe from one of their guards. In defiance of Larkin's advice, Malloy takes off right away to pursue the plane's transponder, which was unknowingly hidden aboard a sightseeing aircraft. When Poe and Jones enter the hold to find out why the plane is moving slowly, they discover that Pinball's body has fallen into the landing gear compartment after missing the jet's takeoff. Poe uses the chance to leave a note for Larkin on Parker's shirt before pushing the body out of the aircraft and letting it crash into Fresno, California's busy streets. When a call from Fresno police comes in, Larkin is promptly alerted to the message. Tricia and Casey are in a meeting with Larkin to discuss Poe's decision to stay on the plane. Larkin notices the inmate's aircraft is flying in the opposite way, towards the abandoned Lerner airfield. The National Guard and other forces are called in to help guard the airstrip when he steals Malloy's Corvette to get there before the jet can land after failing to persuade Malloy of this information over the radio. Poe makes an effort to conceal his identity while on board the aircraft, killing Bedford when he finds Poe's parole letter among his personal items in the hull. Poe finds out from Grissom that Sandino has promised that another jet would be waiting for them at Lerner to assist them in obtaining asylum in non-extradition territory once they have landed. While the other prisoners are being forced by Grissom to dig out the plane, after Poe warns him about trusting Sandino because of what he heard about Sandino's past treachery, Poe searches the field for an injection needle for Odell's insulin because he is going into diabetic shock. However, no plane appears to be waiting for them when the plane lands at the airfield and runs aground. Larkin, who is also on the pitch, finds the jet Sandino promised, learns that he betrayed Grissom, and attempts to depart alone. He then assists in rescuing Poe from Sandino's goons, who are there waiting for their leader. Poe and Larkin converse briefly about the situation before Poe departs to go for an injection needle. In order to board his jet and have the pilot take off, Sandino slinks away from the other captives. When Sandino's jet crashes, Larkin manages to disable it, alerting Grissom, who then lights a match and throws it at the fuel dripping from Sandino's aircraft, sparking a fire and killing Sandino instantly. Following Cyrus' discovery of the small weapons concealed in the plane's cargo hold, the inmates set up an ambush trap for the advancing military after noticing that there are troops on the pitch. Poe finds an injection needle, returns to the plane to give Odell his insulin, and stops Johnny from raping Bishop while Larkin goes off to assist stop the troops from being killed by activating an active plow and using it to construct a makeshift bulletproof shield. Before Poe and Odell and Bishop could flee with the jet damaged and as the troops overran the trap, Grissom and the surviving hostages returned to the aircraft and took off. Following Jones's discovery of Poe's parole letter, Grissom quickly learns Poe's real identity. Cyrus is ready to murder Poe after shooting Odell, who was trying to take the blame, in the stomach. Malloy had located the jailbird after initially realizing that Larkin was speaking the truth when they came upon the tourist plane. He orders the pilot of his helicopter to start fire on it, which shuts down one of the plane's engines and depletes its gasoline. After engaging in hand-to-hand combat with inmates in his path, Poe takes control of the cockpit and instructs the crew not to fire while Grissom and the others are busy firing from the aircraft's ramp at the helicopters. When Malloy learns that Poe is a parolee from Larkin in a different chopper, he orders hold fire and joins the fight. The damaged jailbird is forced to make a crash landing on the strip while attempting to land the plane at McCarran International Airport in Las Vegas. The landing results in injuries and fatalities among the prisoners and extensive damage along the strip before coming to a stop in the Sands Hotel lobby. Poe is hailed for his assistance by Odell and Bishop among the commotion as the police take the surviving inmates into custody. On a fire truck, Grissom, Jones, and Swamp Thing flee. After spotting them trying to escape, Larkin and Poe pursue them on motorcycles, killing all three of the escapees. Jones was struck by Poe's bike, Swamp Thing was run over after Larkin flooded the fire truck with water from the fire hose, and Cyrus was handcuffed to the fire ladder, beaten by Poe, and then sent flying after the truck crashed, leaving Cyrus to be crushed by a piledriver in a nearby construction site. After being brought to meet him by Larkin, Poe is able to finally reunite with his devoted wife and daughter. The film's final scene is a croupier at a craps table in a Vegas casino asking a novice shooter if he feels lucky. The gunman, Garland Green, the sole prisoner to escape, rolls the dice, sips a margarita, and responds without smiling. Well, that's all for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it, and please support us by subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to get notification for new videos every we post.